Dreaming of driving the big dump trucks on the surface? Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and for most people their mining dream is to drive one of these big dump trucks on the surface and get paid a lot of money to do that. I'm not here to burst anybody's bubble, but I feel it necessary to give people a reality check of what they're getting themselves into because of all the autonomous mining that's come into it. And we're going to come over to the sponsor's website, Underground Training, and you can see this page in the New Starters column. It's down here in autonomous trucks, and it goes through the three different types of mining: strip mining, pit mining, and underground mining. Now, with strip mining, they can use the autonomous trucks, so anything that's within 40 meters of the surface, everybody unfortunately is using these autonomous trucks. There's deeper pits and the underground where they can't use them, where they need bums in seats because they can't establish the exclusion zones. The reason that they need the exclusion zones with the driverless trucks is because back when we pioneered the technology in the underground space with the underground boggers, the first bogger I ever saw drive itself underground was in 2006. It's the same technology that they're using on the surface at the moment. You need to establish the exclusion zone because we scraped a whole heap of people up against walls, so they're worried about doing that. That's why you can only use them in the strip mines on the surface. And if we come back to this lovely picture, it is actually attached to an article about a production coal mine in Queensland that's starting up, and guess what it's using? It's using 21 driverless trucks. So if that was a 2-and-2 operation, so you would need at least 84 truck drivers to run that if they weren't using the driverless trucks. Now there will be some trucks there that have got drivers in them. They always need some on site, but it's nowhere near what it used to be, and that's created a huge oversupply of people. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what I would do if I wanted to drive one of those big trucks, but I'm just going to go through and have a look at some of the dump truck ads that are around, and you'll see that there's a huge difference in the amount of money being paid. And one of the reasons that if you look into it, the huge difference is that this will be a full-time job at $40 to $45 an hour, where something like this that's a lot more will be labour hire, or it'll be a labour hire situation where you're not getting sick leave and you're not getting annual leave. So the rates are coming down. The reason the rates are coming down is because there are so many experienced truck drivers out there. And I know I've told this story on the channel before, but with BHP up in their iron ore area up here in the Pilbara, since 2018 they had 6,500 people on site, and ever since then, and they decided to go autonomous, not just with the dump trucks, but with everything that they possibly can. And their dream is to go get it from 6,500 people at the end of 2018 down to around about 850 people by the end of 2024. I've had multiple people tell me that they've had to listen to that in speeches over and over again. I've helped a few bus drivers get jobs over the years, and they drive all the big delegations around and they make all these speeches and all that sort of stuff, and it's all about getting rid of people. And the Future Fit Academy that they've got in Perth and over in Queensland with their driverless trucks, because they're doing it in coal as well in Queensland. The Future Fit Academy is about supplying enough people through, so if they do lose people through the changing over to autonomous and reducing wages and all that sort of stuff and bringing things down and giving people more responsibility for the jobs that they were doing, because when you don't have operators there, fitters have to pick up the slack with moving things around and all that sort of stuff. So more work, less money. They got these academies in place so they can just directly transfer people in. These academies are putting 500 people through a year, and you don't have to that's a lot of fitters. So they're looking to bring wages down with all that sort of stuff. And also, if you're lucky enough to get an operator's job with one of the big iron ore companies as a trainee, it doesn't pay very much anymore, unfortunately. It used to back in the day, 2003 to 2012. I mean, it used to be the job to have because it used to pay so much money, but it's just not anymore. So the alternative is on the other the flip side of it is, this is anybody that's been following the channel, this is the map that I use to show everybody where all the gold mines and base metal mines are. And the majority of these, some of these are hard rock mines, which will be looking for people, but the majority of them will be hard rock underground mines. And all the hard rock underground mines are all having to put on entry-level people as truck drivers. None of them want to because it costs them a bucket load of money, but everybody's having to put people on as nippers and truck drivers all the way around the country. And if you're looking to get in and you've been thinking about, I'm going to be driving one of these great big mining trucks and that's my way in, what I'm trying to say to you is that there's not many of these jobs around. And if you're lucky enough to score one of these jobs, they don't pay very much money anymore, unfortunately. If you want a big paying job or a big paying career, then you really need to look at the underground side of things. There's lots of truck driving jobs around to start with, an entry level nipper and all that sort of stuff, and then you can work your way up from there. You can use the sponsors training, the DIY package, to get yourself up to speed so you know what's going on. But there's heaps of work all over the country, and it's just about giving them what they want. Now, if you really, really, really want a surface job, then my advice is to head to a mining town like Kalgoorlie or Perth. Perth do some big fly-in, fly-out mines that have got big open pits, so there is some availability there. But again, everybody's trying to minimise costs on the surface at the moment, so anything that they think that they can replace with driverless to get the money down, that's what they're going to do. If you really want a job on the surface, the super pit's the way to go. They've got Super Pit 2 that you're going to get bounced straight into, and they seem to pay their people really well. The only downshot of it is that you've got to live in Kalgoorlie to do the job. I mean, the upshot of it is work's right there next to where you live, and it's an easy commute, and they pay good money and all that sort of stuff. But they're always looking for people. And, like I said, on the flip side with the underground, Northern Star, who do the Super Pit, that's going underground. They're already looking for underground truck drivers for the underground on that. And they've got a whole heap of other underground mines around Kalgoorlie that they're looking for. But the jobs are all over the country with the hard rock underground side of things, not so much with the open pit side of things, unfortunately, because of the driverless trucks. It is what it is. Like I said, 15 years ago, it was the job. Now the job that everybody wants that's in the industry, they all want to be the jumbo operator. Why do they all want to be the jumbo operator? Because the jumbo operator makes $1,500 to $2,500 a day. It's the same, the digger job on the surface used to pay a lot more than it does at the moment, and that's like anything else because they've reduced people and there's lots of competition. The money's gone down a bit. They haven't been able to do that underground. It's just expanding out. It's it's where your big long career path's going to be and where the money is. So I hope that didn't burst your bubble. I just wanted to let you know. And if you really do want one of these big truck driving jobs, then make sure that you head to a big mining town like Kalgoorlie. They do a lot of satellite pits around there. There's a lot of jobs available. They're not long-term jobs, they're short-term jobs, but it's a foot in the door, and then hopefully that might lead to something more long-term that you can do on the surface. But there's not a lot of those jobs around where if you look at the underground side of things, there's just jobs everywhere. So I hope you found that interesting and helpful, and if you've got a question about the industry, please send it through, and if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.